Hey, love bugs. Welcome to Black Girl in a Semi-Classical World. I'm your host, Calabria, and I am just so excited to kick this thing off. This is the inaugural episode, as they would like to say, of my new podcast, and I am just super elated to talk about all the things related to music and specifically singing for all singers of the vocal diaspora. I couldn't be more relieved that I actually hit the record button and actually am going through with this because, as I'll talk about a little later, I was really fighting some demons doing this, but one foot in front of the other, and we just get it started and we move as we can and as we should. So I'm going to take this second to just introduce myself. As I stated, my name is Calabria Webb. I am a Detroit girl. I'm a native, born and raised. I am a blend of things, musicianship, if you will. I am a classical singer. I'm a mezzo soprano. I am a voice instructor as well. I have my own company. And then I do all the other things related to singing, all the other things related to music education. I am just like a blend of all things that are just musical and art, right? So I'm like your girl if you want to see to get your voice right, but I'm the girl that you want to see if you need some top flight entertainment for your event as well. And I love to play on stage. Dang. So now that I'm like sitting here thinking about it, I guess it's a good time for me to tell you more about me, right? So I often get the question of why and how I started like singing. And so I'm not going to like completely bore you, but usually my stories are pretty entertaining, or so I hear. I started when I was in kindergarten. Of course, we had show and tell, and I remember being very young in kindergarten. I really remember everything vividly. And I had one of those Fisher Price recording tape players, right? So that was like back in the 90s where cassettes were still a thing. And this tape recorder was like white with red, blue, and yellow decoration and siding. It had a little attached microphone to it. You could dub over if you had like a blank tape, or you could play a regular tape and sing through it, right? And that was gold to me. That was just straight up gold. I used that thing so much, and I took that thing every week to show and tell, to the point where my teacher was like, hey, you can do something new. You can bring something different. And I said, I know. And I just kind of kept talking, right? I've always had that big personality, and I've always liked to be heard. And it was at that point where, I brought that in and I told them why I brought it in. I was super excited about it. And then my teacher is like, well, can you sing something for us? And I'm like, sure. Like, no fear. And I come from a family that loves smooth R&B and smooth jazz. So back in the day, there was a station here in Detroit. It was a smooth jazz station, 98.7. It's no longer that. And I was always in the car with my grandparents because they lived next door to me. And we were always listening to that station. And so the jazz, was cool to me. It was like, oh, okay, whatever. But what really intrigued me was when there was a voice on. And this particular voice, she is like a Detroit legend. I loved Anita Baker when I was about 4 years old. And at that time, I believe her single Body and Soul had came out, and it was all over the airwaves. And I just loved everything about her voice. I loved everything about that instrumentation. And I just really liked the song. And that would come on, and I learned the words, and I would just sing along to it in the car, and my grandparents just let me sing. So, of course, because that was the song that I enjoyed and listened to so much, I get to school for show and tell, and they're like, sing a song. And I'm like, bet. And what do I sing? Anita Baker's Body and Soul. Oh my God. What 4-year-old is singing Anita Baker, first of all? And I will alternate between that song and Whitney Houston, I Have Nothing, because there was something about The Bodyguard that really just touched me as a 4-year-old. Like, I've always been about the dramatics. Nothing has changed. So that was literally how I started. And one day my mom comes to school for like parent teacher conference, and my kindergarten teacher sits with her and says, hey, did you know that Calabria can actually sing? Like, she really can sing. And my mom was sort of surprised and was like, I had an idea, but I just didn't know it was really that deep. I thought that was something that she did in passing. And my teacher was like, no, she's not shy. She'll sing in front of people, and, she actually sounds really good. Like, you may want to pay attention to that. And so what did my mom do? She signed me up for the church choir. That was her experience. That's what she knew to do. So then I started doing that, and I did that for a majority of my childhood. So that is really how I really got started. And if we just kind of fast forward a little bit through time, I get to high school. I'm a Renaissance graduate. Anybody knows anything about Detroit, Renaissance is it. So I definitely am a Phoenix. And, ninth grade, I got the chance to pick my electives. And, I was excited. I saw all these options. And at this point, singing wasn't really something that was necessarily promoted to me as a career. Everybody around me, which I'll get into on another episode, they treated it as if it were a hobby and not a career, which is problematic. But, it just really wasn't on my radar at that point to do that. And so we get to Renaissance. I'm looking at my electives. I'm like, oh, they got choir. I've always been told I can sing. Maybe I'll just check that. I'll just say I do that. Whatever. I'll be cool in that class. Because what I really wanted to do, I wanted to be on the pom-pom team. I wanted to wear the short skirts and, all this other stuff and basically just shake my ass. That was it. And just be cute with it. And so, I get into choir, and it was beginning choir. So, we were a little scrappy bunch, and it was really about just learning the fundamentals, and we didn't realize what we were going to feed into. And that's the beginning of the school year. We get to around November-ish, the first semester concert, and we sang our little song. We were with the other class. It was maybe about 30 of us on stage, again, a very scrappy group, a scrappy sounding group as well. And we get off stage, we walk off, we're done, we have a seat. And then the main choir gets on. And I remember it literally blew my wig back. Like, I'm not even going to hold you up. Like, I wasn't even wearing wigs back then. But whatever wig that I had on, whatever edges that I had, they were like gone, like straight shredded. And I was like, whoa, because the sound was impeccable and it was so many of them. But they literally were high school students, but they sounded like grown adults singing. And it was just a very pure sound. It was very full. It was very colorful. And I said, oh my God, I got to be a part of that. That's what I'm doing next year. That's what I'm doing in 10th grade. And I'm going to set my sights on that. And that's just what it's going to be. So let's hurry up and get through the rest of freshman year so I can go sing with the big dogs, because that was just a goal. I did end up going to the Pomerette trial audition, and discovered that I didn't really want to do that like I thought I did. It just didn't do it for me. And I was like, that's cool. I'll just be in choir. Like, it's not a big deal. So I get in choir the next year. I actually fast tracked to the advanced ensemble my sophomore year of high school. And I did all the choir things. I had so much fun. We had college tours every year. That was my first time doing it, where for 2 weeks we were on a tour bus. Like, it was about probably 70 something of us. We were on a tour bus, and the whole goal was to expose all of us to a lot of the HBCUs that were on the East Coast and at the top of the South, and also give our seniors an opportunity, juniors and seniors an opportunity to audition for college scholarships. So my junior year, we're fast forwarding again because this is just, how my life works. It's a big old time hop. And we get to 11th grade, and there's a school on there that we hadn't gone to the year before that I had never even heard of. Like, I knew about Howard, and I knew about Central State, and I knew about Hampton, and so on and so forth. And I see Winston-Salem State on there in North Carolina. I'm like, where the hell is that? Like, that can't be anywhere that I want to go. Woo, woo, yeah, right? So never judge a book by its cover. First of all, that was the lesson that I got that year. We got on this tour bus. We get to Winston. It's February. Now in Detroit, we bundled down in February, and big old coats on. It's like 11 feet of snow. Like, it's just cold outside. And I hate winter. I've always hated winter, and I hate it, right? Still in high school. And we get to Winston, and we on the yard, and nobody's wearing a coat, and there was no snow, and it wasn't cold. And I lost my mind. Because I was like, oh my God, the campus is well kept. It's very pretty. The weather is great. This looked like a fashion show. It was a DJ out on the breezeway. I said, oh, this is where I need to be. This is it. And so I set my sights to go there. I ended up going because I ended up getting a choir scholarship there. And I was a music education major. So in 2011, I graduated with my Bachelor of Science in Music Education, fully certified to teach in K-12 classrooms. And that was it. I hung out in North Carolina a little bit longer. I moved to Charlotte for 3 years. And then I decided, all right, I've had enough of this teaching stuff. I want to go back and get my master's in vocal performance. So I ended up moving back to Detroit. I went to Wayne State University and had the time of my life. It was a totally different experience than Winston. Winston was, of course, an HBCU, very small. Wayne is very big, very diverse, and an open campus in the middle of Midtown Detroit. And that was when I evolved into this classical music singing, trap music loving, red bottom heels wearing, I mean, you name it, like super liberal, super fun, super spunky, very loud and comfortable being loud. That's when I evolved into this beast. And I say beast with love. And I have been her since. And it has just been an amazing ride the whole way through. I've had the opportunity to sing in France. I've had the opportunity to go cross country USA. I have sung in so many languages. I've sung obviously in English, but I sung in Italian and French and German. And my most recent was Czechoslovakian, and I love it. Like, I live for it. I love the music. I love the study of the music. I love to see friends perform the music. I love to listen to the music. And it was just so dope to have an instructor, a private voice instructor who I still study with to this day, who knows the voice so well and who is very inspirational and also is a savant with technique and with repertoire, and to know and see that she is also a Black woman is like the dopest thing in the world. And I really found my tribe after grad school and even during grad school. It was just an amazing thing. So my experience thus far has been a blend of teaching. It's been a blend of performing. I got inspired to teach actually as a one-on-one vocal coach, this side of me. It was born because I was working at the health department. I didn't enjoy my job. It was a job with benefits. I thought that was the adult thing to do when I graduated grad school. And, I was like miserable. And I realized I didn't have enough gas money after I was paid. Because, of course, I was drastically underpaid. Like most people in America are. That's another episode again. But I started teaching. I said, I really didn't care for it doing it under somebody else's umbrella. I felt like I was underpaid, and, I didn't totally like the level of clientele that I had or the age of clientele that I had at the other place. And I said, well, let me just try it again. It's not going to hurt. If I don't like it, I don't have to keep it up. We just keep it moving. And I quickly got about 2 or 3 clients within about a month, and they were cash only clients. And I loved it. I had a blast doing it. I was doing it for myself. And I was able to directly see the impact that my teaching style was having on students one-on-one in a contemporary vocal coaching mode. And I said, wow, not only do I enjoy this is so much better than the health department, whatever I was doing at the time, but it also was, wow, this can actually be pretty lucrative for a musician. Like, maybe this is not just the side hustle for gas money that I needed. Maybe this is the hustle. Maybe this is it. And so since then, I've spun it. I've been doing, voice instruction for about maybe 3 years independently now, or going on 3 years, I should say. And it has boomed. I have like over 20 something clients that I see on my own, and I still do work a full-time job elsewhere. But I have been able to learn so much about my own voice through teaching other people about their voice. And I'm like obsessed with this dual role that I have as an instructor and as a performer. And I just feel like more people need to hear about it. More people need to explore all of their options. Musicians need to know that starving artist thing is a lie. You need to know the wealth that you have, and the wealth is yourself. And so this podcast really just reflects all of that. It's a combination of one-on-one conversations in the mirror with myself, holding my phone recording like I am now, But it's also a series of interviews with other colleagues that I've met along the way through music, talking about their careers and their lessons and things that they've learned, and just having those real candid, open conversations that I feel like a lot of times we're not able to have because we're so caught up in the day to day, just moving, trying to make a dollar, trying to get through, trying to get rested, get ready for the next gig, wash, rinse, repeat. And we need to stop and take time to just cultivate those relationships, because the relationships are what they're going to get you the gigs. They're going to get you the collaborations. They're going to get you the experience. Like, those are the things that we have to nurture. And we have to stop waiting for someone to give us that opportunity to build and introduce those relationships. We have to carpe diem it up, seize the day, and DIY it. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. And I just think that this podcast is inspirational, as someone had to inspire me. I'm looking to be that voice for up and coming musicians and singers, also current day musicians and singers, maybe some older people who might need a bit of a boost in their career, or a boost of motivation in their life. We all serve as inspiration for each other. So why not take advantage of that? To some degree, we all have to use each other, right? And so if you're going to use somebody, and if I'm going to be used, it's got to be for the right things. I also think that there's a greater message here that says I can do all things, right? Some of us are a little religious, some of us are not. But if nothing else, I can quote, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And I can do all things. That means that whatever someone has told me that I can't do or that I can't have, just watch me work. I was told, by an old school educator, and they meant well, and that advice stuck with me, to my chagrin, actually. But I was told that you either have to be an educator or a performer, but you can't do both. At some point, one is going to eclipse the other. And that advice sat with me. I lived through that. I worked through that. And a lot of us were told the same thing. And when you adopt someone else's philosophy that was not meant to fit your life, you end up in a whole body, a whole experience that's not authentic to you, because it's not supposed to be yours. And I think that it is more valuable to stop putting parameters and telling people what they can be and who they can be or what they should be, and instead opening their eyes up to the options. You want to do both? Go do both. You define what you want to do. Nobody else defines it. You do that. You create the opportunities. You use the resources. It's about you. And again, those relationships and words that we impart on others are either life or death. And we need to just speak life into that. We need to have life. You can do it, whatever it is you want to do. Just because somebody told you you couldn't, or you haven't seen it because you weren't exposed to it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so I think that this podcast can give, so much life into that. To be able to write your own freaking meal ticket is powerful. You don't have to wait on someone else to always sign a check for you. You make your own bank in any economy. As I'm sitting here, we're towards the end of the Pam Bennett, aka the pandemic, aka Miss Rona, or whatever you like to call her. And I can honestly say I had an uptick in personal gigs, singing gigs at the end of 2020 that I did not have at the end of 2019 or at any point in 2019. All of a sudden, people were just getting married. They were getting engaged. Of course, unfortunately, we had a lot of funerals, but, I had an uptick in opportunities to sing and to be paid for what I do. So in any economy, I can make money. In any economy, I am the bank. And what would happen if we all thought that way and we spent our dollars within our communities to uplift, provide quality services, and also have that economic impact? Like, that's so powerful. And I don't think that a lot of people talk about that enough. And it's about time that somebody got on the airwaves and started talking about that for singers, because that's real. That's real. We've got to give art a voice. We've got to build our own brand and talk about our own brand. So you'll hear me discuss a lot about my journey as a performer and things that I do to rev that up and to sustain that and to take it even to the next level. You'll hear a lot about what I do as far as my teaching, my businesses, my coaching, anything that falls under that educator realm for me. And most importantly, within this podcast, why I started this podcast, it is so important to elevate our voices, right? And not just my voice, because I can go on and ramble, but there are so many other singers out here with a message. And it's got to be heard. That's why we became singers. We want to be heard. We got something to say. And it's about time that we stopped waiting again for someone to pass us the microphone. Like, no, let me just step up and say what I got to say. Boom, drop mic, I'm out. We have to elevate our own voices and to elevate the voices of others around us too. So these are the hopes and dreams and goals of this podcast. And I'm confident that they'll come into fruition because your girl really do got a lot to say, period. But I will say too, that this journey isn't a journey unless it comes with a few pitfalls that you learn from. And I'm not exempt. So I procrastinated so bad doing this first episode because I'm like, oh my God. I will get stuck in analysis paralysis so fast, like it'll make my head spin. For me, it was some of my episodes I recorded their interviews and they're visual. They have a visual component. And I had to put on makeup, put on at least, from the waist up a decent top, some cute earrings, blah, 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 right? And I just don't like doing that all the time. As I record this right now, I'm using my iPhone. I'm sitting half dressed. I have showered and brushed my teeth and that sort of thing. I have on a maxi dress because for me, it's Memorial Day. So I'm about to hit the streets. But my hair is in two large Bantu knots on the top of my head with this scarf on. I'm ashy as hell. Okay. I need to put some lotion on and I'm probably going to walk out in Crocs. There's no makeup. Like I don't need to show up, just to be visual, right? I'm enough as I am. And so what? You can't see me some of these episodes. Calabria, you don't have to be a perfectionist doing everything that you do. It's enough to just show up and have your voice. And for the visual component, if you happen to access this episode on YouTube, you will see my logo. Hello, somebody. Okay. Will the church say amen there? I'm enough as I am. I don't need to always be seen. And when I am seen, I'm enough being seen as I am. Right. So that was one. And, I had to have a friend cross that out for me. That was a problem or getting in the way. And what also comes to mind for me as a pitfall, that imposter syndrome is loud. She loud and she need to be beat. Imposter syndrome, if you're not familiar with it, it's that little voice in your head or in your body, because your body has a compass. It's that voice that says you can't do this. It's that voice that says the audacity you have. It's just that voice that's loud that cripples you and makes you think that you can't do or, you're not good enough to do. And I fight with her. I wrestle with her WWE SmackDown every day, right? And there are some days where she's got me one up, and there are days when I've slam dunked her. And I've decided to make today a day where she's in a chokehold, basically. I can do those great things that I'm afraid of because many great things in this country, especially if you're from America, guess what? They were accomplished with less by less. Any country that is built and rooted in enslaving people to build the damn country is because somebody used mass manipulation and fear tactics and also all the other terrible things to get somebody to do their work. And it's because they couldn't do the damn work, right? So this whole 50 states and plus a couple little territories out there was built by less, meaning character, morals completely out of whack. And it was accomplished with less, no technology, or that technology during that time was so lackluster. And we know that, right? And you're dealing with people, not machines, right? So people cannot crank out what machines can crank out. And on one hand, I'm looking at all types of things that people have accomplished, and they don't have my mind. They don't have my drive. They don't have my vision. They don't have my goals. That doesn't make me more, and that doesn't always make them less. But it just means that I am. And that means that I do because I am. And again, it goes back to and it loops around to the I can do all things, right? Whatever parameters were put on me, if someone speaks a mountain into my path, I'm about to move it or dismantle it or go around it or go over it. I can do all things. I can do big things. I can do scary things. I can do things that may not look attractive. But because I know that they're good things and that they feed me, I continue, I persevere. And at the end of the day, I treat myself. So it is one of those things where a lot of discipline is involved. And my team is amazing. I have a team of people who encourage me. They push me. They remind me of what I'm great at. They instill thoughts in me that are positive. They speak positive things over me. And I do. I just do it. So if there were any other piece of advice that I have for you in this pilot episode, in this inaugural episode, that's the word I like to use, inaugural. It just sounds really big. Do all things. It don't matter if you do them scared. It doesn't matter if you do them, feeling like you're less than. You've shown up and all your preparation is about to fly you through that gate. It's going to fly you through the door. But do all the things, and do them well. Because you probably already know what you're doing anyway, and you were really made for this. So I'm excited to just go ahead and get started. I'm excited to see this unfold. And I am so excited that you're joining me. And from the bottom of my heart, I do say thank you humbly. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey y'all, thanks for kicking it with me. And as usual, you can find me online. If you're looking for me as a singer, I'm CalabriaWeb.com. If you're looking for some voice instruction to get that thing pop popping, I'm musicwithcalabria.com. I'm always open to taking new students, and I can't wait to hear from you. I've also got some really cool things going on both of my brands. So if you want to join one or both of my email lists by venturing to the sites, can't wait to hear from you. Leave me any messages online, and I will see you all soon.